Welcome in, everyone. Thank you for joining this We Sojourners Reveal party. You're liking these little background tunes to get us all settled in and get started. Thank you so much for joining today. My name is Kristen Lawrence, and I am your host for today. And I'll introduce more about who I am a little bit later on. Now, I appreciate you taking your time out of your busy day to view, review, and watch this video about what We Sojourners is. So, welcome again. And the purpose of today is to invite you in, to share with you what We Sojourners is and why We Sojourners. And I'll explain a little bit more about who I am and ask the question, what if we do this together? So let's get started. We Sojourners, our mission is to provide a place to train and support Christian women to deeply connect with themselves, God, and others. And so the invitation for you is, look, you matter. Just drink that in. And I believe that we don't hear that enough. You matter. I also think that we don't say it enough to others. You know, there was a time when I didn't think that my voice mattered, which showed up in my keeping all my thoughts to myself and keeping my ideas, my hopes, my dreams, my questions to myself. That hurt both me and others. It hurt the building of ideas that only get better when we share what's inside so that we can collaborate. There was also a time when I couldn't receive an invitation. I didn't feel worthy of an invitation. And some of them were really amazing invitations, let me tell you, like the one from my ballet teacher, Jane. She invited me to learn free of charge the Cicchetti style of ballet. And she did that so that I could become one of her instructors at her studio. But she also knew that while I was good at dance and I could teach, she also knew that I had two small children and we didn't have any money. So she offered to give me her time to teach me and prepare me for the qualifications to become a Cicchetti teacher. So in my estimation, though, at the time, I didn't matter enough. So I was unable to receive and accept that invitation. So if I didn't know that I mattered, maybe you do not know that you matter either. And so I'm here just to tell you that you matter. You matter in this world and you matter to me. And that's why I put the invitation out for amazing women to join me at the very start of the We Sojourners community. Because you and me equals muy. Something, a very fun little turn or combination of words that we were created for relationship and that muy says it all. So We Sojourners was created to provide a place for Christian women to receive coaching and training in community. So it makes sense that every woman is important, because if you weren't part of We Sojourners, there would be no community and no We Sojourners. And trust me, I know the discomfort around joining a group of women and being known. from over the last 12 years, I've been in learning groups from graduate school to online coach training to women's Bible studies. And in a lot of those contexts, I could never fully be myself. I wouldn't offer the fact that my values were based on my Christian faith, while other participants around me shared their practices in Eastern medicine or serving in a large client base, doing energy readings, or connecting with nature as their higher power. I just sat silent until 2020. I was determined to try something different, which is something you will hear me talk a lot about in the community. And that something different for me was to share with confidence how my faith guides me in the work that I do. And I can say now from experience that it wasn't as scary as I thought it would be. No one shamed me or told me that I was foolish. In fact, in those secular settings, more people started to share about their faith in Christ, which led to new friendships that I absolutely adore to this day. And we can never really anticipate what we will receive in community. But if we leave expectations aside, I promise we will be surprised at what we learn and how we grow. And so for you, take a minute to reflect and ask yourself, when was the last time you were able to be fully yourself in community? And once you think about that, maybe answer the question in reflection, were you ever in a community where you learned something unexpected, something that you thought you would never, ever learn? So for instance, I was in a coaching mastermind group. We were all coaches and we were learning and deepening our skills in coaching together. And there was a gal in there that I was completely opposite of. And I thought, oh, I just hope that I'm not in her small group, because how would I go the entire year in the small group with this person that is completely different from me? Well, I was determined again to do something different and just to be myself and let her be herself. And I will tell you, by the end of that mastermind group, we had the best experience ever. I got to see her change and grow in ways that she never even thought she would change and grow. And I was able to be that person for her to hold space. I wasn't her coach. I was a participant with her. But together, we were able to hold space for each other and allow each other to grow and explore the things that we needed to explore, even though we were completely different from each other. So, what is We Sojourners? It's a temporary stay in a place for the purpose of growing individually together. Now, that may sound weird, so let me explain. We are all at different stages of life. We have different ages, different education backgrounds, different family structures, professional levels, different professional aspirations, which makes what we need an individual thing. But I'm convinced that we can't fully do what we want in terms of growing or living a God-honoring life without others on the journey with us. Hence, I use the word together. But why? So, why did I pick this word sojourners? In the Old Testament, there's a lot of great imagery and direction about how to treat the sojourner that is in your land. So that imagery of the sojourner in a foreign land struck me so deep. I knew it was that one word that could express what I want women to experience and what I know will bring them freedom. So when I searched to see if sojourner.com was available, it was, but I would have had to pay $45,000 in order to secure that domain. And that was not available to me. So my friends and I, we worked and played around and searched for words that would go with sojourner and just different spellings or different ways of putting it out there, and landed on adding the word we to we sojourners. And so that's how the we came into play. And it actually adds this beautiful little depth to it that makes it community. It makes it communal, exactly where I want us all to be. So the full vision is that as we gather, like you are right now watching this video, we're all staying in a place for just a time to work individually on whatever it is in relationships that we need to work on, but we're doing it together, gaining support, giving support as we go on the journey. So you'll take something away completely different from what somebody else watching this video will take away. And that's okay. But it happens because we're all entering into this experience from a different place, from a different vantage point. And so we'll all take something different away. And what I like to believe and hope for is that what you take away is exactly what you needed. In addition, we can grow deeper and go even further if we do it in community, which is expressed in the we. So it's in our values that I can explain a little bit more with depth about what We Sojourners holds. And the first value is hospitality, which says we are a community that practices loving your neighbor as yourself, exhibited in being good-natured, patient in the process, and encouraging to each person right where they're at on the journey. Now, did you know that hospitality isn't about carefully curated tablescapes or what kind of food you make or even how you present that food? Nope, not at all. It's about loving the stranger. So it doesn't matter how big your house is or the decorations that you have in your home. If you can't love the stranger, which also means somebody who just isn't like you, and that could be the person that shares your bed. Sometimes our spouses are just not like us. So they could be a stranger sometimes. So if you can't love the stranger, then having a big home or offering big, wonderful gifts becomes devoid of value. Playfulness is the next value that We Sojourners holds, and that is learning new things is an invitation to be brave and courageous. This can be uncomfortable and but very unnecessary but it is very necessary. Sorry, it's not unnecessary. It's very necessary as we practice the skills that help us to build better relationships. So coaching is a big part of We Sojourners. And coaching is a tool that helps people go from here to there, from A to B. And one way to get to that new place is to practice and try on what's possible in a safe space before taking those new learnings out into the real world. So you could think about it in terms of maybe you go to the department store and you gather up a bunch of new clothing that you want to buy. But first you take it into the dressing room and you try it on. You try it on in that safe space of the dressing room. You may do a little twist, a little twirl. You're checking it out to see if you feel comfortable in those potential new clothes. And some of them you put back and you say, no, that wasn't for me. And sometimes you say, yeah, this I could do. So you take that home with you so that you can confidently wear that out into the real world. The same happens with coaching. We learn new things in We Sojourners. We learn conflict skills. We learn emotional intelligence skills. And we learn how to not give up. That is so key. And we do that and have the opportunity to practice those skills before we try to implement them into the real world. So, joy. Joy is probably my favorite, one of my favorite values. And it is celebrating small and big wins so that no matter what comes our way, remembering the gems we receive is never too far away. So, experiencing and sharing these wins with others and having them celebrate, other people celebrate with you, that is so life giving. And we will be certain to be practicing this as often as possible in the community. And finally, the last value that I'll share with you today is the relentless pursuit. We're dedicated to faithfully living out our individual values and our beliefs that support building life-giving relationships. Now let's think about Luke 15 for just a minute and the parable of the widow who didn't give up or lose heart. Now, we need to never, ever give up pursuing healthy relationships. It's an investment for sure. So the woman, the widow who went to the judge over and over and over again, she did not give up and she did not lose heart waiting for him to give her justice. And that is what we will receive justice, and we will see reward if we do not give up in investing into our relationships. So if I had given up, I would not have had so many opportunities in my life to experience God's work in restoring and strengthening relationships. And I certainly would not be here today sharing with you at the start of We Sojourners and what it has to offer. So the We Sojourner community will be that place to offer support to one another when things get tough. Relationships are challenging, and we just, like I said before, we just can't give up investing in them. And so a time for reflection for you. Which one of these values speaks to you the most? Which one would you like to play with more and experience more in your life? So now let me share just a little bit about me. My name is Kristen, and I'm a wife of 26 years. I'm a mom of 3 grown children, and I have one grandson named Henry. I grew up with a mom and an older sister, and my dad unfortunately died in a car accident before I was born, so I never knew him, and he never knew me. And my mom never remarried, so it was just us girls. Now, our mode of communication was yelling, slamming doors, and basically doing things on our own. So we did not learn and uh, pull ideas together, and we didn't share our dreams together. So that kind of did throw a narrative into my life where I didn't think I was capable of becoming anything significant because doing things alone, it takes a lot longer to learn what you need to learn in terms of wisdom. And but I always had this deep feeling that I wanted relationship with others. I wanted those deep connections. But that was hard to come by because I also never felt that true sense of belonging. And belonging is having the ability to be yourself, sharing what's inside, or even receiving and giving feedback well, even if it's not, um, safe to do so. You make it safe. So, on top of that, I certainly didn't have any conflict resolution skills, and I did not know anything about building relationships because I didn't do that at home. But now, through a lot of hard work and paying close attention, I now know my voice, I know my values, and I know when and how to use them. Because of that, I found so much joy and freedom in building relationships that are truly God honoring. And so, I asked this question. Let me share the screen again with you. I asked this question: what if we sojourners grew to give these gifts to other Christian women? So you're all on the ground floor with me if you're watching this replay, and it means the world to me to have you here. And so here are some ideas that I have for us about what it would mean if we came together in community where we build a clear sense of identity, our values, and our influence, which will make it a lot easier to relate to this ever-changing world. The rate of change in this world is not going to slow down anytime soon. It will help us to engage difficult conversations and topics and not look like the bad guy while we're doing it. It will give us confidence to live out our faith boldly, whether we do it with or without words. It will help us make decisions easier. And we will be able to champion others in what they're called to do. And that is life giving. So when you get to cheer someone on and help them along their way to get to their goals and to change the way they experience life, that alone is worth every minute of community. So if we have these things on the left-hand side, what do you think would start to happen as a result of having those things? Well, even further, our marriages would become stronger. Now, not everybody in the We Sojourner community is married, and that's fine. Maybe you're getting ready to be married, or maybe you don't want to have anything to do with marriage, which is absolutely fine too. But for those who chose to say yes, and I do, their marriages will be stronger. And your children would grab on to your values a lot easier. They would witness you and experience the values that you speak with your mouth. They will experience them and they will know them because you are living them out. Now, my children, when they got older, they reflected with me a little bit, and they would share with me, "Mom, I don't know why you're saying that, because it's not what you say. So you say something, but you're acting something different in your values." And those were very hard things to hear. But I was so glad that my children felt like they could say those things to me, because it changed the way that I saw my values and how I allowed them to become a part of what I do instead of just what I say. And so now they could take those values and they live them out too. And it's a lot more sustainable for them. Plus, they have a really great story about how mom was living up to the values that she preached. So our health would be better because we would spend less time in stress and worry. We would be able to sleep better. We would eat better. Now, stress eating is a thing, and we would do a lot less of it if we were in healthy relationships, and we would invite others in. So, this one, I don't know about you, but when I have troubling relationships, when they're not strong, or when something else is off in my life, I have a very hard time inviting people into that, or I used to, not anymore. So, inviting other people into my life, even when it's messy or unknown, is hard. But as you get to practice that in the community, you get to do that a little bit easier out in the real world. And so then our hope increases, helping us to trust God's leading more often. We can advance professionally. Look, in our positions at work, we would be seen as a valued influence. We would be able to manage emotions much better. And most of all, doing this together means that no one will be alone again. And so, what's next? I hope that list excites you because it excites me. It's things that I have been experiencing in my own life and freedoms that I did not know were possible. So, what's next? I cannot do this alone. It is not a one woman show. Community is everything, as I keep saying. And in the next few days, I would love your feedback. I'll send you an email with a link to a survey. And I want to receive your thoughts on being in a community like this. I want you to respond back to me and with answers to what would you add and what would you like to see in a community like this? How do you think that this would be beneficial to you? How would something like this change your life? And then finally, as I keep saying, we get to invite others. And are there a few friends that you could invite to join you? For me, my part is to build this place where we can gather to change the way that we approach relationships. I'm creating a monthly membership for us to gather together for live coaching sessions in community. And also, I am creating coursework to help us methodically work through how we approach relationships and how we can relate to the world. So, thank you so much for being so attentive and for watching this video all the way through as I reveal to you this grand vision that I have to bring Christian women together, to be in community, to learn new things, and to change the way that we relate to ourselves, to God, and to others. I look forward to having you join me on this mission and to seeing what comes of it. It's going to be great, and I cannot wait to see more and to know you in the community. I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.